Alright, hello. This video is basically just to serve as a deeper explanation to all the things I put in the description. So let's get to it. Now, how do you make it to the screen in MelonDS? It's quite simple. Go to emulator settings and make sure this is unchecked. Make sure this is on DS. And you need the BIOS files. I can't link those, but if you Google them, you'll be fine. This needs to be checked. Leave these unchecked. These, you don't have to copy exactly. I know there are some combinations where you'll still hit the manip, but I don't really remember them. So you'll have to test that on your own, unfortunately. But let's go to the DS's settings inside them. And basically, for the manip to work, and for timer 0 to be the same between our MelonDS's, these have to be the same. These two don't have to be the exact same, but they just have to be the same character length. So I don't know, you can make it something else if you want. But here's the most important one. Auto mode. This has to be enabled. But here's the thing with auto mode. If you enable it, it just does that. So how do you get to that? How do you get to that screen, like mid-run, to do your dribble or nip? Well, once you hit boot former, just hold start, and you're good to go. And one more thing is, how do you hit the seconds in MelonDS? I'll use the 90-minute nip as an example. So for the 90 tepic, it's at 7 seconds. So, you see the clock in here, it moves. Once it moves 3 times, we hit boot firmware. So, 1, 2, 3. Once that appears, I'm holding right and Y, it'll buffer it. I clear that screen. We keep holding right and Y until this screen appears. And right now, you start mashing and boom. Now there's one more thing we need to make sure that are the same between the MelonDS's. And that's the MAC address. So you find it here, system information. If this is not what your MAC address is, go to config, go to firmware settings, and you would just put it here. But it should be the default, so you should be good. Oh yeah, one more thing I need to notice. The clock doesn't work like this in older releases of MelonDS. This has to be MelonDS 1.0 to be able to do any of this. So let's close that down. Here's Decime. So there's some things I need to go over what happened in the intro. But first, let's talk about these Lulas. These are incredibly useful. This one, you can tell if the Pokemon, you're about to catch is the correct one. So for Drillbur, you don't need to catch it, like look at stats. You can just hit this, hit run, and then hit 4 for enemy, and you're able to tell without having to catch it. Very helpful time saver when you're practicing that manip. This, it just tells you where the RNG is, so you can tell if you're being too slow and all that. And this, it injects the seed. So let's go to edit, and I'll eject the seed for the naughty tepig. So you just paste it in here, leave those two, and then save, and boom, the seed's ejected. I'll have those linked. They're very useful, especially if you want to create them in episode. Again, like if you want to do like Snivy Plus or something. So, but there are some certain things you have to do them in the intro, and some certain things that don't matter. For example, it doesn't matter if you pick the boy or the girl, the manip will work the same. So let's name ourselves. Hit no here exactly 1 time. Otherwise, Tepig's IVs will not be correct. And then one more thing. Look at where this needle is pointing when it first appears. And you'll be able to tell if you hit the seed correctly. If it is pointing anywhere else, you did not hit the correct seed. So this is pretty good for reset efficiency. Make sure you're not wasting too much time and all that. So yeah. Now let's talk a bit more about pit RNG and how that works and all that. This is where the Lulas are really useful, because you can play around and see stuff. Now let's just go here. We're gonna go, just look at pit RNG. Now keep looking at it and see. It stops moving here because there's no NPCs. So you do not need to talk to this guy in a certain frame window. You can bonk, you could stand in front of him for 19 years, it is completely fine. You can do whatever you want here. Well, except when it comes to dribbler, but I'll talk more about that later. But let's talk about right here. This, it does matter, so let's say I talked pretty fast there, but let's do this. RNG will not be the same. Even though this is the same, we're on like a... Imagine like it's like a point thing. We're not at the same 4-5-2. So pretty much, basically what I'm saying is the manip will be messed up if you, wait too long to talk to her. But how do we tell if we did it correctly? Look at this preschooler here. If they haven't turned around and started walking left yet, you are good to go and the manip should still work. And now, here are two other cases where this happens. The X attack, when you're picking it up. So, let's do a boom. There, I bonked, and it's 659. But if you go to the save states, you'll see I don't have 659 written down. I haven't rounded that yet. I haven't written that yet. So these manips are made with the assumption that you pick this up in a timely manner. Because if you don't, the manip, you would have to like find something yourself to realign it. But yeah, when you pick up the X attack and X speed, you gotta do it quick enough. Otherwise the manip will stop working. Because RNG does still move in this area. Like, let's just stand in front of the Pokeball. See, it moves, even when I'm not moving. Alright. So, let's talk about Drillbur. The first thing about Drillbur is, I have, instead of a save state, I linked you a save for Drillbur. So, let's just use this. Boom. And that's how you use that. Now, the thing about Drillbur is step counter matters. Oh, whoops. Got a bit hasty there. Oh yeah, do not activate the C gear. That messes everything up. And you can mash through this. So look, another area where RNG doesn't move. So you can do your turn frames, the free of them, as slow as you want. It does not matter. You're good to go. But let's just look at this step counter right here. Now, honestly, I have the wrong C eject, so this ain't gonna work, but around here is where you get Drillbur. So we're at 104 right here. That's like where a standard run would be. But keep looking at the step counter as I run around. See how it resets? If it does that in the middle of you doing the manip, one of Dribbler's IVs will be completely wrong. It'll be like free or something, and the route just won't work. You'll probably like die to something, take too much damage, not do enough damage. Yeah, simply put, you gotta keep count of your step counter as you're moving through the region. Now, thankfully, you don't get the bike too long before you get Drillbur, so there's not a lot of opportunity to go over a step counter, like 26 steps. That's pretty lenient. But that's just something to keep in mind as you run the game. So yeah, this is all I gotta talk about for now. Oh yeah, wait, one more thing. Run as date. Make sure when you're opening Decimate to run this when you're practicing with the save states. Otherwise, Pit RNG will not be what it should be. Can't believe I almost forgot about that one. But yeah, now we're all set. So I hope this clears things up, and I hope it makes running on the emulator more accessible, because I would really like to see more runs on the board. So good luck, and have fun speedrunning this game, because I quite like it.